Do you want access to all of Which's expert product reviews for half the standard price? Well, act fast. Our digital annual offer ends on the 19th of June. That means time is running out to purchase an annual digital subscription at the low price of just £39.50. That's a saving of 50% and works out at less than 80 pence per week. A digital Which subscription gives you access to all of our product reviews, from fitted kitchens and ovens to mattresses, cars and televisions. Which purchase all the products we review and test them rigorously in our lab to ensure they are equipped for real-world demands. Our in-depth reviews are independent and impartial to give you the confidence to make informed purchase decisions that are right for you. The digital subscription also gives you access to the Which app, use of the Ask Which service where you can receive one-to-one personalised buying advice, as well as the digital edition of the Which magazine each month. What's more, sign up now and you will receive the 2024 Which Car Guide. So whatever you have planned for 2024, whether it's a new car or some long-awaited home improvements, save now with a half-price digital annual subscription and make better buying decisions all year round. Offer ends 19th of June. Hello and welcome to the Which Shorts podcast. I'm James Rowe. This is the podcast that brings you the very best from Which, with a weekly taster of some of the brilliant journalism you can expect from your suite of magazines. Today we're looking at the data that companies hold about us, perhaps without us even knowing about it. In the June edition of the Which magazine, Megan Thomas uncovered what credit reference agencies are doing with the data they hold on us and provided helpful advice to limit the amount of information they know about our circumstances. Here's her piece, read by Rob Lilly-Jones.
A city-loving youngster who buys things I don't need and thrives on living in the heart of the action. This is probably not what springs to mind for those who know me well, but it's how a credit reference agency describes me. From my first bank account to my latest credit card, credit reference agencies have been recording nearly every significant financial milestone of my life, and yours. Credit reference agencies, or CRAs, receive and share information with banks and other financial institutions, so lenders can assess how risky it would be to lend to you. They also produce credit reports and scores. You'll likely have more than one, which tells you what information they hold about your credit history and indicate how lenders see you. But your credit score is just the tip of the iceberg. CRAs also run marketing businesses that use your data, and these may go beyond your finances. Recently, we examined privacy policies and got hold of the files CRAs hold on us to uncover how your personal data is sold and used. All three of the major CRAs, Equifax, Experian and TransUnion, offer a marketing service to companies, but their scope is very different. The most limited, TransUnion, only validates information and matches identities. It uses credit-derived data to check whether individuals on the Open Electoral Register are over 18 and to work out the average age and number of adults per household for its marketing database. However, your personal data file won't include these details. While Equifax deduces a few additional characteristics from their credit report, such as gender and marital status, it's Experian that has the broadest range of this modelled data and additional propensities. This means data that reflects how likely it thinks you are to do various things, such as pay for financial advice. Experian can have as many as 370 modelled data points about an individual. As well as modelling specific characteristics, Experian Marketing Services places you into different segments with other people in similar circumstances and who share behaviours it thinks you're likely to display. Experian has two different segmentation databases, the Financial Strategy segments and Mosaic, which has standard, digital and shopper variations. TransUnion's Cameo database shows demographics such as age, wealth, and educational level within a postcode. But, unlike Experian's database, these aren't attached to you as an individual. If you make a subject access request to work out what data Experian holds on you, you may see which Mosaic or financial strategy segment it puts you into. For example, you might see in your request that you're in FSS 4, Dual Pension Freedom segment, described as content retired couples owning average value homes with a comfortable standard of living. When we took a further look at Experian's additional materials on the segments, we found a much more granular level of information. People in the Dual Pension Freedom category were noted as having the highest uptake of boiler insurance, while the NS&I website is the financial site most likely to be visited. Whether you feel this is an intrusion too far into your privacy will likely depend on the accuracy of these descriptions. The Mosaic segments focus more on shopping habits and responsiveness to different forms of advertising. Each category includes aspects such as online activity, educational levels, and likely modes of transport. The data received by a marketing client will depend on what they pay for. It could be a list of names and addresses of potential customers who fit certain requested criteria, extracts of the full database, or matching the attributes and propensities with the client's list of customers. Experian has more than 1,600 marketing clients across a range of sectors, the largest of which is retail. As a hypothetical example, say you bought an alarm clock from the website of fictional firm Hull Homewares. It would have a record of your name and address. Hull Homewares might provide Experian with a list of customers, now including you, and ask for a greater detail on how to target these customers for future offers. Experian could add on the segment data and other modelled characteristics about you. This data tells Hull Homewares you're likely to live in a 3-bed house with a garden, have a high disposable income, and engage with branded email. So it now considers you among the ideal candidates to receive an email advertising its range of garden furniture. Experian is also used by charities and local authorities. For example, Step Change Debt Charity uses segmentation to find the UK constituencies and wards where people struggle the most with debt. With all three CRAs, your credit information or transactions are not directly passed on to marketing clients. However, clients of both Equifax and Experian use information such as negative credit payment or a county court judgment to remove people from certain financial advertising campaigns, a practice that aims to prevent harm to the recipient. This data is only shared with members of the Credit Account Information Sharing Service, the financial services that give and receive the credit information. Equifax and Experian take your name and address from their credit reference data and use it to derive further information. So, name, address, and date of birth lead them to information about the household, for example, length of residence, and other factors such as marital status and gender. Equifax doesn't use this credit-derived data for direct marketing, nor does it sell email or telephone marketing lists. Experian data that comes from its CRA business is non-prospectable, meaning your name and address won't be passed on to Experian clients that don't already have it. CRA's marketing businesses haven't gone unnoticed by regulators. In 2020, the Information Commissioner's Office published an enforcement notice ordering a change to CRA's direct marketing practices as it believed they were in violation of parts of data protection rules. Equifax and TransUnion adopted the requirements, while Experian took remedial steps on some points and filed an appeal on the grounds that the other requirements were disproportionate and unfair. In the appeal, the first-tier tribunal found that the Information Commissioner did not properly appreciate the limited extent to which CRA data was used. It also noted that there are benefits to using this processing, such as removing duplicates and misspellings and stopping materials being sent to people at old addresses. Furthermore, it felt that the negative impacts were only that someone would receive a marketing leaflet which might align to their interests, rather than being irrelevant. The tribunal ruled that Experian gave adequate notice to the approximately 51 million consumers whose data was collected for credit report services and was being processed through its consumer information portal. But it said Experian had failed to give adequate notice to the approximately 5 million people whose data had exclusively been gathered from other sources, such as the Open Electoral Register, and ordered it to do so within 3 months. The ICO challenged the first-tier tribunal's decision in the upper-tier tribunal in February this year, but the appeal was dismissed. An Experian spokesperson said, "We welcome the upper-tier tribunal's decision. As we have stated throughout these proceedings, we remain deeply committed to transparency, safeguarding privacy, and helping consumers to better understand and control the use of their data." We've been able to make a subject access request to companies since 1998, but they were brought back into the headlines by Nigel Farage, who used one in 2023 to reveal that his bank, Coutts, saw him as a reputational risk. But with CRAs, making a request to work out what they know about you is easier said than done. We submitted 11 subject access requests to Equifax and found the process confusing and difficult. After filling in the initial form with details and address history, 9 of our volunteers were told their identity couldn't be verified and were asked to submit documents. Our volunteers were then asked to create a help account online and raise a case to upload their verified documents. Several volunteers were confused at this point and didn't know how to provide the information. Once we provided the verification documents and Equifax had approved them, we received a case update that our Equifax online help account had been verified, but with no information on how to follow up with our subject access request. Several volunteers gave up here. When we tried to follow up, we found that we couldn't log in because we didn't get to the point of setting login details, which comes after verifying ID information, nor could we submit a new registration because our details were already registered. Caught in this infuriating catch-22, the rest of the volunteers called it a day. I persevered, but repeatedly ran into difficulties trying to resolve the problem, filing cases on the online help account and calling Equifax's helpline several times. I specifically said I was having an issue with the request, but ended up just getting referred to the online help account, or My Equifax, completely different and unconnected services. My 5th online help case was successful, at which point my request was submitted and I received my subject access request information 3 weeks later. An Equifax UK spokesperson said, "To protect customers, a robust and secure authentication process is needed to handle these requests. Our system is designed to streamline the user journey without the need to manually upload ID, although in a small minority of cases, additional verification is needed to safely authenticate a customer." Byzantine complaint handling aside, there are other barriers to understanding or challenging what CRAs know or think they know about you. Including subject access requests, you have 8 rights concerning your personal data. For example, you have the right to object to the use of your data in certain circumstances, such as direct marketing. You also have the right to be informed on how your data is collected and used, generally through a privacy policy, and to access and hold the data for your own purposes. Crucially, you have the right to insist that any mistakes in your personal data are corrected, which must happen within a month. You can complain to a company if you're unhappy with its use of your data and feel unable to exercise your rights. You can then escalate this complaint to the ICO. However, from the 1st of July 2022 to the 30th of June 2023, only 4 out of 37,003 ICO complaints led to formal action. Informal action, such as advice given to the firms, was taken in 38% of cases, but the remaining 62% of complaints resulted in no further action. So how do you limit the data held about you? Well, the first thing you can do is opt out of marketing services. The Credit Reference Agency makes it easy for you to opt out of marketing services, and they'll mark your personal file as non-prospectable. To do this, visit equifax.co.uk/EIN for Equifax, experian.co.uk/CIP for Experian, And for TransUnion, email ukconsumer@transunion.com. The second thing you can do is take your name off the Open Electoral Register. To do that, you can go to gov.uk/register-to-vote, or you can contact your local electoral registration office instead. Opting out of the Open Register won't affect your rights to vote or your credit score. Number 3, change your online settings. You can turn off personalised ad profiles on Google and social media websites. These are used extensively by companies to collect data about your interests. 4, avoid data broking websites. Online competitions, offer websites, or lifestyle clubs are common sources of information for data brokers who gather IP and email addresses. And finally, read privacy policies. If you want to know what sort of personal data a company is collecting and processing about you, check its privacy policy documents, which you'll find on its website.
Rob Lilly-Jones was reading that piece by Megan Thomas, originally published in Which Magazine's June edition. Want to subscribe and get the magazine delivered direct to your door? I'll pop a link in the description of today's show. Remember, you can find more articles you'll find useful every day on everything from money and technology to home and garden advice by signing up to one of our many free email newsletters at which.co.uk/newsletters. We'll be back next week for another episode of Which Shorts. Thanks for listening. Which Shorts was produced and edited by me, James Rowe, while the exec producer was Grace Farrell. As well as being an expert on money matters, did you know that Which also has a team of experts in various aspects of UK law? Which's legal advice service gives its members access to this team, allowing them to call up and get advice on a range of legal matters that impact consumers' everyday lives. Whether it's a rental dispute, a last-minute holiday cancellation, or legal employment advice, Which can give you personalised, one-to-one advice in a simple, convenient and affordable manner. Don't struggle in silence or suffer the stress of wading through endless streams of online information from unreliable sources. Join Which Legal and speak to one of our experts to get the advice and guidance you need tailored to you. What's more, the Which Legal offer is now live, meaning you can join and get legal support from Which for a whole year for just £69.30, a saving of 30%. Go to legalservice.which.co.uk to find out more, or click the link in the podcast show notes. This offer ends on the 16th of June, so don't miss out.